In 2014, independent game developer Scott Cawthon released Five Nights at Freddy's, the first game in what would become a long and successful franchise. Doing a recap on this game is a little difficult, mainly because the story is a bit strange with this one, owing to the fact that there really isn't one. I'll do my best though in this bite-sized retro recap of Five Nights at Freddy's. First things first, as always, there will be spoilers. The premise of Five Nights at Freddy's, or FNAF as it's more commonly known, is just as the game's name suggests. The player must survive 5 nights working as a security guard for Freddy Fazbear Pizza. Sounds simple enough, stay alive from midnight to 6 a.m. each day. Things get more complicated, however, when the Pizzeria animatronic mascots begin attacking the player. There's Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and the titular Freddy, each of whom act in different ways. There's also a 5th animatronic, Golden Freddy, but it doesn't really do anything other than flash on the screen occasionally along with the words, "It's me." Mike Schmidt is the name of the player character, but you never actually see what he looks like. You just know it's him thanks to a paycheck at the end of the game with his name on it. Each night, Mike finds himself in a cramped office. He has access to security cameras and can open and close 2 giant steel doors on either side of the room. On the first night, Mike receives a call from the phone guy, a previous security guard employee who tells him to keep an eye on the animatronics since they are permitted to move around throughout the night. Mike does this with the use of security cameras where he can see into various rooms of Fazbear Pizza. If an animatronic gets too close to the office, he can close the doors, keeping them out. There is a catch, however. Each time that Mike uses security cameras or the doors, the office's power drains a little. Keeping the power up is critical. If the animatronics reach the office, they will kill Mike, resulting in a game over. To prevent this from happening, Mike must bounce between checking the cameras, using the lights in the hallway, and shutting the doors if the animatronics get too close. All of these actions use power, so staying alive becomes a painful process of resource management. The nights start off pretty easy, but things become progressively more difficult, and by night 3, it's a struggle. At least it was for me. At first, the only animatronic that tries to attack Mike is Bonnie, who only attacks from the left door. Easy enough, but by night 2, Freddy and Chica join the hunt. Freddy and Chica both attack from the right door, complicating things. Foxy's a bit different. He stays hidden behind the curtains on the stage in Pirate Cove. Throughout the night, he slowly reveals himself. Then when he's gone, he sprints towards the left door. The player, as Mike, has to close it quickly to survive. If an animatronic does get into the office, it leads to a jump scare and a game over. This ratchets up the tension a bit. Approaching 6 a.m. on later nights will have you flexing every muscle in your body as you're just 1 second away from winning. If all goes well and the player makes it to the end of night 5, Mike will be awarded his paycheck for $120. Finishing night 5 also opens up 2 additional nights. Essentially, everyone is more active and things are more difficult. I've mentioned there really wasn't a story in the first FNAF, and while that's mostly true, clues to a deeper story can be found in newspaper clippings found on the wall in the East Hall. These clippings change periodically, relaying some of the game's story. According to the newspaper clippings, 5 children went missing at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. They were lured into a back room by a man wearing a costume of one of the mascots. Apparently this man was caught on camera and arrested, but the children's bodies were never found. After the incident, the pizzeria faces several public health violations, when several people complain of horrifying smells coming from inside the mascots, with blood and mucus around the eyes and mouths. This seems to suggest that the bodies of the missing children have been stuffed inside the animatronics, and now their spirits possess the suits somehow, hence why they are attacking Mike. If the player does beat night 7, Mike will be given a notice of termination for tampering with the animatronics. This seems to hint that Mike knows something about the animatronics, I'm not sure what, but he is involved. There's also something weird about the bite of 87, where a child was bitten by one of the animatronics, but what that means or where that's going I have no idea. So that wraps up my recap of the first Five Nights at Freddy's. Overall, fun game. It was short, stressful but fun. The premise is simple and there's next to no story, but I think that's exactly why this game has found such mainstream success. People love to try and piece together the breadcrumbs of stories sprinkled throughout this experience. And I agree, it's fun to theorize. The game is short enough that the simple mechanics never felt too repetitive, but complex enough to keep you entertained. I would recommend Five Nights at Freddy's to anyone who wants a quick, spooky game to play for a few hours. The jump scares though, they only get you for a while before you get used to them. I'd give Five Nights at Freddy a 3 on the scary meter. The scares come predominantly from the jump scares, but I don't think that's all there is here. I think some of the terror comes from resource management. It's difficult in the later hours to keep the power from draining, and when you're approaching the final moment of that final hour, it really does have you on the edge of your seat. The jump scares do wear off though, which is kind of the main premise here, and before long you won't even be flinching. As far as blood is concerned, I give this game a 1. Other than some mentions of boys being murdered on newspaper clippings, the gore here is non-existent. There's no blood at the jump scares or anything like that. That puts us in the terrifyingly bloodless category. It's scary alright, but the gore is nowhere to be found. Well, I've said my bit. See you next time.